Hello and welcome to Star Trek Las Vegas. I am your unofficial host, Heather Ferris, and I am here with Fred and Rocky, and we are going to bring you the main Discovery cast, including Tilly.
Yes.
I love her. So let's watch this, let's see how it goes, and then join us afterwards for the commentary. We look forward to seeing you.
How's everybody doing?
Thank you.
Say hi to this. It's thousands of people. Hello, loves. Hello. So for each of you, let's start right into it. Guys, we'll have a lot of time later for questions. I'm going to open with some questions to start. So 3 years ago, this whole Star Trek world was brand new to you guys. How strongly have you embraced it, and how strongly have you felt embraced by these folks? Why don't we go right? Okay, I was going to go down the line, but all good.
So the first part of the question, how strongly did we embrace it? When we were asked to do it? You mean like...
No, being part of the Star Trek family.
The family, yeah. Well, one of my very best friends has long been part of the fan community. He was part of the community that was mimeographing stuff like back in the 70s and going to like some of the early
fanzines.
Yeah.
Mimeographing.
Yes, mimeographing. And he told me he was the first person to talk to me about slash fiction. So I had some idea, like some abstract idea, but yeah, not until we were here last year and then again this year, the notion of the global family experience of it. I felt immediately embraced by everyone, and I think everybody did. It's been incredible.
I mean, even just this weekend, every single person I've spoken to, and I just feel a lot of love. I feel a lot of love for everyone. And I like that. I like to be loved.
Mary, want to jump in there?
I love you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly. I don't think I was prepared for like this whole side of it. And when I got the job, my now husband was like, "You don't understand." Thank you.
That was her husband.
Very happy. He was like, "You don't understand. Like, this is a world beyond just you're going to be on this great TV show. You're also going to be part of this community forever." And I didn't really understand the weight of it. And the first time I came to this, it was like really getting a grasp on the whole breadth of this community. And it's so nice. I mean, all the love means so much to us. Getting to meet your children, getting to hear your stories, what you love, what you appreciate, what your personal story with Star Trek is. It makes the work so much more meaningful, you know? It's wonderful.
Embracing. That's a great word because I am an embracer. If you've been at my table, you know you're going to get a hug and face. So I was happy to embrace this entire universe when this all started for me. Being 30 years into a career too with heavy rubber makeups. I kept getting asked by many people, including makeup artist friends of mine, like Michael Westmore, who was one of our, Star Trek legends. I know him and his entire family. So why had I never been in the Star Trek alien makeup before this? Was the big question. So when this opportunity came up, the embracing, are you kidding? Like, oh, of course I will. And then the embracing of this has been a ride unlike any other. I've been in genre fandom for quite some time in my career, but this is different. This is a cut above. This is family. Last year was my first time at this convention, and you all kept saying, "Welcome to the family," and thank you for that because I
Yeah, I mean, I use a word that I've overused for the last 2.5 years, and that word is overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed by the response, not only to this character, but to this relationship and to our show. If you are lucky as an actor, you get an opportunity to play a role that moves people, that allows them to be seen and felt, visible. And this morning we were taking duo photos, and this young lady took a photo with us. And as she was walking away, she turned around and said, "Thank you so much for helping us as a community to be seen." And nothing else, if we allow you to feel seen and understood and appreciated as an LGBTQ person, as a person of color, just as a person, in this moment, then we have done our jobs. And we talked about this, and I feel like maybe this isn't a chance to do it, but today's a really hard day for a lot of us. And I'm not going to go into it too much, but you know, as a Latino American today, it's really easy to feel sad and angry that someone would go out of their way to hunt us down and to commit an atrocity like we saw in El Paso and in Dayton over the weekend. And we would be remiss as a cast if we didn't acknowledge that while we're here having a wonderful time and embracing each other as a family, there are people in our country today who are feeling real fear. And so if you would join us all in a moment of silence to remember the people that we've lost, their families, but also the people who have lost their own loved ones in other tragic shootings and murders in our country. We'd appreciate it if you take a moment with us to remember them.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you, everybody.
The House of Representatives passed recently a bill that would make it easier to, or to make it harder to get a gun. Some background checks at the very minimum. And it's not finding its way to a vote in the Senate. And if you feel strongly about gun control and about ending this senseless violence in this country, please call your senator in your individual state and tell them how important it would be to you personally and to us as a country to end this senseless violence.
You know, this is the beauty of Star Trek, that when we go from talking about entertainment to something as important as what Wilson is talking about right now, I'm going to steer it back to the entertainment side for a few minutes.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes, absolutely. You know, all 5 of your characters grew in leaps and bounds over the first 2 seasons. I'm wondering for each of you down the line, we'll start with you, Mary, what was the biggest development, the most surprising development, the one that came out of the blue you didn't see coming?
My character?
For your character, of course, yes.
There's a lot of stuff that came up that I was like, oh, I didn't think of her that way, and this is a fun new flavor. I mean, maybe like the most fun is that Tilly likes to party. I really enjoy that.
You were really surprised by that.
I was, because when you first meet her, you think, oh, this is a person who struggles in social scenarios. I mean, that's the first takeaway, you know. She has trouble articulating herself and controlling her anxiety and the whole plethora of things, and that she finds in these situations and social functions that she shines and really enjoys herself. I love that about her, and also relate. So that was like a really fun thing.
I believe your crew and cast here agrees with you. Shazad, to you?
Well, obviously, my character had lots of unexpected and crazy things. I think the one I didn't really expect was my relationship with Colbert. I think I didn't see that coming, how that developed and how that turned out, and you know, because going from a broken neck to hugging each other is a long way, and then seeing each other on the bridge and like those moments, I thought that was, you know, well dealt with, and I really enjoyed the experience with you.
Doug?
Well, I was right that you should fight it out too, wasn't I?
Yes. Thank you.
I didn't want us to.
Called it.
Good captain decision.
Well, the biggest change for me, of course, I think going from I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
That's a huge jump.
A huge jump.
That's essentially how you played it.
For your Emmy nomination, right? That's the scene.
Where was my Emmy nomination?
There you go, damn it.
Anyway, but I think but having so many of you guys relate to Saru on his level of fear and anxiety as some of us deal with that every day. I'm one of those people too. I'm terrified every day to leave the house. So it is it's comforting to watch a character like that and to play a character like that and to have one written for me that is on a journey to overcome that. And so when threat ganglia fall out and all of a sudden you're not afraid anymore, to watch that in a dramatic situation, I'm thinking to myself, maybe the fear I deal with in my own real life, maybe I'm making it up. Maybe it's not real. Maybe it doesn't have any legs if I don't give it those legs, right? There's a lesson that Saru has taught a lot of us.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to the season one, I didn't know when we started that I would turn into kind of like have that trippy period, tripping out moment, and then it gets I think nicely integrated. But filming season 2, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen between us. I knew he was coming back, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know what that would mean. So each episode was a nice surprise because I like not knowing because Stamets doesn't know. So me knowing wouldn't help me play the scene any differently.
You were probably more surprised than anybody because, like you just said, he doesn't like to read too far ahead in the scripts. If there are 5 scripts ahead, which probably aren't, but if there were, you wouldn't read all 5, right?
Yeah, especially also because the scripts keep changing somewhat, so I don't also want to read too far ahead because if it changes, if I get attached to an idea and then that changes, then that doesn't help me either. So it's like, yeah.
And Wilson?
You want to know what surprised me?
Yeah, what? Which
Aside from the fact that I was alive?
Yes. I knew that was going to be the answer, by the way. I'm just feeding you the line.
Well, I think I was surprised with Culber's reaction to being alive, right? I mean, because in season 1, I think we assumed that he was pretty happy in his life. And to find out, just like any of us, that there are aspects of his life that he felt he could improve upon.
I shouldn't have let you two sit together.
I wasn't saying the person. I was saying that there was stuff that we as a couple needed to work through and be honest about. And I think we.
I made your favorite food.
Did. And you thought that was a Band-Aid. We're not going to have a fight here in front of these people. We could talk about this at home. But anyway, no, I was surprised that he was gonna take advantage of this second chance at life to make a better go at it, if you will.
There you go. All right, let's talk a little bit about season 3. You guys are filming. So just give us a tease, a taste of where things might be going in the future.
I get to
without
go
giving
inside,
anything away.
I get to go inside of Jeffrey's tube. The guy was on a camera, sitting on it, they called it a butt dolly, literally. So he's like, on a camera, like pushing himself backwards on the wheel butt dolly. So that's, you'll envision that when you see the scene.
Mary, you want to answer that one too? Just a tease of where things are.
I'm so scared to say anything right now. I like the idea that you guys will be surprised, but
We are in the future, and we can say
we're
that.
in the future, so there you go.
All right. I'm going to move on to a different topic.
I just don't want to spoil it. 'Cause it's gonna
Can
be
anybody
really
else
good.
say anything without spoiling, or should I just move on?
No, I don't think we can.
All right, let's leave it a surprise. Let's talk about your upcoming projects. What have you guys completed during the summer? I know Shazad, you've got something very cool coming up.
I did a little bit on Dark Crystal. And be part of Jim Henson's world, and it's crazy. I'm just in the studio for 2 days, voicing this, matching my voice to these puppets.
Did you sound like this?
No, it's the complete opposite. I mean, but we had the puppeteers do that. So you had to, and I thought my puppeteer sounded better. He had a lovely Scottish accent and he sounded great. So I was sort of embarrassed to be there, but it was. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. It looks great, and yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see it if you're fans. So. I was frightened to death by it when I was a young kid, and Jason's got a part in it, and yeah, it's a great cast. So, yeah.
Cool.
August 30th, Netflix.
There you go. Mary, what about you?
Well, I returned to the show Baskets on FX, which is a total polar opposite of this show, and it's very fun, so check that out. And I completed my marriage to my husband.
That's a good summer. There you go. Doug, you took it easy for the first time in a million years, am I right?
I took it easy, but a couple things came out on TV that I had done before.
Right.
Like 2 episodes of Better Things on the FX channel with Pamela Adlon, and yeah, I played a creature on that.
Shocker.
It was a creature as an actor, though, in a movie within the movie. So I got to go on an Doug Jones-like rant between takes. This is hot. Get it off me. And I also had the honor and privilege of doing a couple episodes of What We Do in the Shadows. And I was supposed to be incinerated and gone and dead at the end of my second episode, but Jermaine Clement, one of the creators of the show, was such a sweetheart. He said, like, gosh, I want to keep a window open in case you ever want to come back. So as we were doing my goodbye with my charred body, my eyes started going real quick, just like, right? So can I come back? I don't know.
There you go. Anthony?
I did a bunch of concerts, and I'm gonna keep doing concerts and do that a lot. Went traveling around, did my travel videos with my boyfriend Ken in Scandinavia.
There you go.
If you like that sort of thing, it's on the Instagram.
And you reviewed an awful lot of books.
Yeah, I've reviewed a lot of books on Goodreads. Hey.
If you guys are on Twitter, he's constantly reviewing books and recommend. These are sci-fi books that I'm talking about
Yeah,
for the most
they're
part.
good. Yeah.
Check it out.
Really good
and-
books. Some not so good, but mostly good books.
Really good books.
Yeah.
Really good books.
And Wilson, where were you not this summer? I mean, you were all over the map and on Entertainment Weekly's cover.
Yeah, Shazad and I went to Berlin together.
So fun.
Brown Boys in Berlin. That was our hashtag, right?
Yeah, Brown Boys.
But I finished the 3rd season of 13 Reasons Why, which will be out in the end of this month. And cover your ears. But I play one half of another gay couple. I'm stroke. On Hulu's animated series called The Bravest Knight, where I play partner with T.R. Knight, and we're raising our black adopted daughter, played by Storm Reed, to become the bravest knight. So I did that, and then I was on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, which is what you're alluding to, for Pride this year, and I was one of the ambassadors for World Pride this year in New York City. We're working away.
There you go. I've got pages and pages of questions, but I see a lot of people want to ask questions. Let's start on the left. And can we get some light on our friend here? Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out. We really appreciate it. I have a question for Doug. Sue has a very alien walk. When he's walking through, his arms are kind of swinging through the back. Did you come up with that idea? Did the writers come up with that idea? How did you develop it? And can you show it off?
Since you asked so nicely.
Yeah, since it's probably the #1 question I get asked now about Saru is that walk. That was developed within minutes of me putting the boots on for the first time in my first costume fitting in season 1. And no one really noticed it until season 2 for some reason. I was walking like that for an entire year, and then finally they backed up far enough to watch me walk down hallways. They're like, "What? Look at those arms!" So yes. So what happens is, when I put the boots on, it's a high heel shoe without a heel behind it, so you have to kind of...
You want me to hold your mic?
No. So my hips go a little bit forward, hands are drooped a little bit behind, so when I was walking around the costume area, my hands just started doing this, so I kept it.
My friend asked me today, of all days, actually asked if you had dance background because it was a Fosse move.
Oh, very Fosse. Mind training, but I wouldn't call myself a dancer. Speaking of which, ta-da! Yes! First some new cosplayer who's ever worn these shoes that I have seen.
Doug, is this the guy whose boot you autographed?
Yeah.
That is amazing. Talk to me about, real fast, like 3 sentences about making those boots and what?
Oh my god. It's been a couple of days. It's getting a lot easier. The hand movement's going. But the first couple of days, when you rip them off and you lie down on the bed, you just don't want to move again.
This day after day after day, right?
Starting my third year.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to show you off. How awesome is that? The boot for him. I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I know you have a question, so we'll let you back in line. Let me go to the gentleman on the right.
Thank you all for coming. You're incredible. I just want to know who inspired you and acting teacher that inspired you to help you improve as an actor in your craft. Thank you guys so much.
Great question. Thank you.
I worked with a wonderful teacher for a number of years, and when I first moved to New York after high school, named Sandy Shurin, and she inspired me so much because she wasn't about, like, some acting teachers kind of like, they believe in kind of like breaking you down to build you back up kind of thing. She believed in like lifting up your spirit and opening up your creative self, and so it was all about like making it a really joyful and creative and loving energy, and so that's something that I really appreciated about working with her.
Yeah.
I worked with at Juilliard. There's a teacher named Richard Feldman who is sort of the guru of the acting school there, and he changed my life. And he sort of focused on a sort of relaxation and opening up in order to sort of move around your defense mechanisms that a person, you know, when they're being watched or feeling emotions or feeling stress, the kind of defense mechanisms that we develop to protect ourselves, those actually stop us from having authentic experiences. So his whole approach was to relax and let those things go and notice where you go when you're scared or you're sad or whatever, and allow yourself to act without those things protecting you. And he's truly the best acting teacher I've ever worked with in my life.
I went to Bristol Vic, which is in England, in Bristol. Some great actors have been there: Patrick Stewart, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Jeremy Irons. Patrick Stewart.
We get those names for you.
A lot of their teaching was basically a guy called Rudy Shelley, he was a Russian guy he'd studied under Stanislavski, and he came over and he started the school. But so a lot of our teachers there, a guy called John Montauk, had filled down his things, and we tried to use a lot of that stuff, but it was mainly a lot of the actors trying to figure it out together. But Rudy Shelley was this very famous teacher, and sort of looked up to him.
When I was at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, anyone? Thank you. It was another student, actually. Reed Steele was a senior when I was a freshman, and he ran the mime troupe on campus at Ball State. And it was that mime training that actually I could incorporate into my other acting training, where it woke up my entire body from head to toe to help me take on a character from head to toe, whether it's a guy in a t-shirt and jeans or a full-on monster with a tail and horns on his head. So the mime training really was a wake up of all of it tells a story visually and verbally.
I had a professor at Cal State San Bernardino. Her name was Catherine Johnson.
Hi, Catherine.
Irving Johnson. And then I worked with a teacher in Los Angeles. Her name was Diana Castle, who challenged me to do my homework remember that being a new thing for me. But I met her early on. You know, I started as a kid, as a 19-year-old, and so I feel like a lot of my teachers were actors that I worked with, that I learned from doing. You know, I would count Claire Danes as one of my acting teachers. I would count Tom Irwin as one of my acting teachers, and Bess Armstrong, people who really helped me not only learn how to be a better actor, but how to be a better coworker and how to be more generous in the work that we do. You know, none of us do this in little silos by ourselves. I learned from Anthony, and we figure these scenes out together. So it's yeah, that's what I gotta say.
Anthony, do you learn from Wilson?
Yes.
You learned how to be erotic from me.
And I learned how to take shirtless pictures on Instagram, which I don't take.
Maybe you should.
Let's go to the left and get away from that question. Go ahead.
My question is for Shazad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I used to work in public television in Vancouver, Canada, and Clint Fandango was a folk hero in our office. And I just want to ask what it's like going from a comedy like that to an epic sci-fi.
Well, I mean, when I was doing that job, I didn't know really. I just thought it was this crazy, absurd thing that no one would ever see. But now, obviously, on Netflix, people have seen it, and I'm really happy because it's my kind of comedy. It's the kind of stuff I love doing. And yeah, I mean, as an actor, that's a dream to go from, you know, horror, sci-fi, comedy to do that kind of thing is really. Doug would know what we do. I mean, same thing. Well, Matt Berry's also in that, and he's a very eccentric, free. You know, he acts like he's doing jazz. He actually has an acid jazz band, but. Yeah, no, it's an incredible experience, and I'm just so glad people are responding to that kind of crazy, crazy comedy.
Thank you. To the right.
Two quick comments and then a question for Mr. Jones. Tilly, you need your own sitcom spin-off, just saying. Mr. Cruz, Mr. Rapp, my husband and I thank you for being real on screen. It's amazing. Thank you. Mr. Jones, as I've discovered over the last couple days, prosthetics and things that make you appear not human can be uncomfortable and sometimes painful. How do you cope with that on the short term and on the long term?
Right, well, bless your heart.
While you answer.
The luxury I have, though, is I have, between takes, a team of people that can surround me and take care of things. Whereas walking around the conventional by yourself is bless your heart. You have it harder than I do, believe it or not. I'm glued into my makeup, though it doesn't come off at lunchtime. It's a full day commitment. You wear gloves that you can't use a phone. I can't even really. It takes a production to go to the bathroom for myself, so I choose not to. I know. Am I getting pity? Is it working? Is it working? You know? It's so hard being me, you guys. No, but the farther you get from human, the more challenges you have with a makeup or a costume of sorts. But Saru is relatively kind and forgiving compared to other things I've played because I get it's a head and hands and some feet and contact lenses. The rest, though, up around in here, I don't have to. I can stand straight up and down. I don't have to crawl on hands and knees, and so we get through it. We get through it. I said yes to the job, so I got to get through it. Right?
Before I go over here, Shazad, real fast. You're in a movie called Departure.
It's a TV sort of one-off limited series kind of.
Limited series. Did you work with Christopher Plummer?
I didn't. I heard he was in it, and then I didn't have any scenes with it. But I sort of just.
That would have been a great Star Trek connection. I was wondering.
Yeah.
No worries. We're at the shop. Let's go to the left.
Hello. My question is for Mary. And before that, Ian, thanks you for doing all your moderating. I think a lot of us thought you did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Tilly always brings a smile to everyone's face. I mean, she comes on, there's a lot of comic relief. She does some things well, very well. But in your mind, I mean, the writers give Tilly, too much comic relief or perhaps too little comic relief, or about just the right amount of comic relief in your mind?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think for me, like the way I look at it is it's none of my business. You know, like they write what they write, and my job is to take that at face value. And of course, I have opinions or ideas in the moment, but the hope is that you're not judging the work in that way, that you're trying to live inside of it as opposed to outside looking at it. I don't know like totally how to answer that question, but I think that whatever it is, whether it's a funny moment or a more heartfelt moment, it has to come from a real place inside of her. So it's not just for the joke, and it's not just for a little relief, that it's whether it's being fed out of her anxiety or her not being comfortable with a moment of silence or a gap in conversation. All that stuff has to be rooted in a real experience. But that stuff is kind of for you guys to decide. That's my job is on the other side of that. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much.
And stay over there after the panel. I'll give you that $10 I promised you. Thank you. Let's go to the right.
First of all, Wilson, Anthony, Doug, Shazad, Mary, it's wonderful to have you all together on that stage. And Ian, yes, you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Mary, last year when you were on the panel, I made it to the mic, but unfortunately got cut off because we ran out of time. I wanted to ask you this question.
You know, I'm sorry, we are out of time. Okay, go ahead. That was way too easy. Then I was like,
don't do that. As much as I want to ask you a question from season 2, I have to go back to season 1 and episode 10 because that is my favorite. And in my opinion, the writers gave you the scariest and yet coolest line of dialogue ever. I have to say it, of course, when no one remembers. Is that how you greet your long-lost captain? If you greet me that way, Connor, I'd cut out your tongue and use it to lick my boots. I would love to know, because Tilly exhibits so many traits that are on the autism spectrum, and I'm autistic for 25 years. If the writers do decide to declare autistic, I would love that. But I wanted to ask, once you read the script for Despite Yourself, what was your initial reaction to it? And then before it came time to film that iconic scene for your character, how did you prepare for it?
I was so excited. I was so excited. You get these opportunities in sci-fi, and particularly Star Trek, to do just a complete 180 on your character, and they create all these great justifications for it that are really great viable science fiction. And so when I saw that I got to do that, I was like, this is why I'm doing Star Trek. So I get this opportunity. And to be honest, like, I have traits of killing. Like, I can be tough, And so I was excited to explore that part of myself too. Not just like the weirdo, which is also 95%. So I was so excited. I thought that line was so good, but I wanted to nail it so bad, and I really wanted Tilly to be good at playing that part. I didn't want her to fail when she was on, and so I got in that chair and Frakes was directing that episode, and he is like, such an actor's director because he is an actor, and he had my back, and he told me what to do he said, when you sit in that chair, you take that moment, you enjoy it. And he gave me all this stuff and all this support, and so I don't know, it was just such a great moment. I thought the line was so great. I was a little scared to say it to Connor because I had to look him in his eyes and actually say it. But it was awesome, and I think it came off well. And I learned so much about Tilly from that episode, that she's capable. So whatever nerves, all the things that she struggles with, in that moment you see, I think, a glimpse, not of her ideal captain, but of her as a captain and of her commanding authority, and she's capable of that, and I love that moment, and I'm glad you love it. I really appreciate that. Thank
Hey
you.
guys, my name's Morgan. Pleasure to see all of you. You mentioned earlier, Anthony, that you read and review a lot of books, so I'd love to hear from all of you. What is one book you think everyone should read?
Good question.
Should read? Well, should. People read, I want people to read what they want to read, but I'm such a huge Ursula Le Guin fan. hard to pick between the two, but The Dispossessed or Lieutenant Darkness, but read both of them. They're just masterpieces. They're about what it means to be human, and they happen, she uses science fiction as this incredible metaphor and window into the human condition in a really amazing way.
We're supposed to pick one? Well, I think everyone has to read To Kill a Mockingbird. And, my personal favorite book is, along with To Kill a Mockingbird, is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. So I would add that. But I could go on, I can make a list. I just read Less by Andrew McGreer, which was amazing. You should read that.
I wish I read more. I feel stupid next to you all. But a favorite book of mine is This Present Darkness by Frank Peretti. It is angels and demons fighting over a small town without the town people knowing what's going on in that other world. Yeah.
I'm thinking of a book I read recently, a book called Natives by a guy called Carla. And it's a book about a young black kid, and it's non-fiction, just growing up in London, but also a look at, through that prism, looking at British history and then how it's all sort of changes and flips it for you. It's a really incredible book, and it's where I grew up, so it's a pretty amazing book. Travels with My Aunt by Graham Greene, I also love.
Shakespeare, seriously, but that's a cheat. The book that changed me most as a teenager would be The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. That was the first book where I felt deeply seen, and it was just an amazing experience. The most recent book I read that I was crazy about was Manhattan Beach by Jennifer Egan. And I love Elizabeth Guswad, and this book is incredible. So I would highly recommend that book. She's an incredible writer.
Thank you. Before I go to the right, Anthony, you're working on a book, right? You're about to do a short story. Can you talk quickly about that?
Yeah, Swapna Krishna, she's been a writer for Sci-Fi Wire, the website. Met her at New York Comic Con, and then we've just sort of kept in touch a little bit on Twitter, and she incredibly invited me to contribute a story to an anthology she's putting together with another editor of stories that are inspired by the Arthurian legend, but they want to do like a gender-bending, LGBTQ, diversifying, sort of take it out of the time stream, whatever. And there's some incredible writers that I'm part of, so I'm working on a story, I think it's about Merlin.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Looking forward to it. Let's go to the right.
There's such a beautiful diversity both in front and behind the camera for Discovery, and I was curious, as actors, how does that diversity play into your dynamic on set?
It's a completely different experience, I have to say, when you don't feel like the only person of color, for instance, or the only queer person in the cast. You feel like, I can speak for myself. I feel like there's so much that I don't feel like I have to explain. And just a comfort level that comes with that as well. Our writing staff is also very diverse, and our directors. I have to say, it's the first show I've worked on where I've worked with more than one female director, right? And a female director of color more than one. So there's something that comes with that comfort, in your creative process as an artist, to know that you are understood on multiple levels. For me.
It's when I'm walking around New York and seeing posters and billboards for things, and I still look up and it's like a bunch of white people in a show, like, what world are you living in that you're telling stories that are only about white people? It's so, it's not the white world, and it's like, yeah, you have to be like, I think the creative team and the studios, and they have to make a conscious effort, because they were lying to it for so long. When I started out in the business, I was in a tour of The King and I with Joe Brenner. The King and I, which is a story that takes place in Thailand, or Siam, like it's called in the show. And in that production in 1982, there were actors who were white who were playing Asian people. And thankfully that would not happen anymore, unless you're Scarlett Johansson. But, so that's how blind, they were so blind that they weren't even thinking that there was something weird about that or wrong with that. So now we're finally having real conversations about the importance and necessity of it. But I do want to shout out, like 22 years ago, that Michael Crife, the director of Rent, was somebody who took a stand also putting together a cast of people, of characters that weren't necessarily written any particular way and making sure that it was populated by all kinds of people. And similarly to Star Trek, no one in that show nor this show ever talks about that fact of each other. That's never a factor. And that is part of the idealism that we are also trying to show, is that these facts of us are facts of us, but they don't matter beyond that they are just part of us, if that makes sense.
Just to piggyback, I'm sorry, please applaud, please. I mean, especially in this moment, that when you are casting an entirely white cast, you are going out of your way to do that at this point. And that feels violent in some way to me. And so I just want to say, that's the lie, right? Like when you see a poster of a completely white cast, that's the fake news.
The point you made was that Gene Roddenberry's original vision was to have that much diversity in the future without anyone having to talk about it, because it just is. So I feel like among our crews, we have lots of differences among us, and we don't have to bring them up every day at all. It just is.
Great, thank you. Guys, I think our great band's going to play us off in about 5 minutes, so let's squeeze in as many more as we can. Good question, please.
What was it like to have Tig Notaro join the cast as Jack?
Good question, thank you. I was going to ask.
I was a huge fan of hers before she came on the cast, so I was like really excited. And then it just so happened that I got to do all these scenes with her, so that was even better. And she'd be the first person to tell you that she has a really hard time she has a really hard time remembering her exercise break. But she doesn't freak out about it. She just like I don't know. She's like, what is it? So it's just pleasurable. It's just a joyful pleasure, and she's just making us laugh all the time between takes. She's been an amazing addition to it.
I also was a huge fan of Tig's before she came on the show, and felt so lucky that she was cast. She is for somebody who has the bone driest wit, she is the nicest, warmest person, and she added this element of fun to our cast that was so wonderful. I mean, she has you laughing every second. It's hard to catch a breath. She's just so funny, and she can't learn lines, but that's fine. It cuts together very well. And she's been amazing, and she's so positive. She's incredibly grateful, wonderful person. We're very lucky to have her.
It's one of my favorite scenes from season 2 was my scene with Tig, because we got to see Culver healing in that moment, but also that we were able to talk about our relationships without making a big deal about it once again, and that she got to reveal, her identity as a queer person on the show in that moment. So she is everything.
Great. Let's go to the right.
Hi, thanks for coming today. It's great to have all of you here today. Jason Isaacs said that at the beginning of the filming of season 1, he knew Lorca's secret, that he was really from the Mirror universe. So my question for all of you is, did the rest of the cast know Lorca's secret at the beginning of the filming of the season, or did you find out later as you saw the scripts for the later episodes, and what was your reaction when you found out?
I knew when I first met with the showrunners to talk about the show. They did share that with me, and I think it's okay to have known that part. It didn't really spoil anything in terms of, I could still play the scenes with Lorca being the dick that he was. So it didn't really matter in the end whether I knew that information or not. But I thought it was really smart and cool.
I think Jason told me you were playing tables, and I think he just told me that on one of the first nights. I don't think it affected me.
We all knew that he wasn't going to be with us for the entire season, so it's like, why would he exit? And so I think it kind of came up, as it would.
I also had to know because Culver was figuring it out, so they needed to tell me, and then that was the reason why I died.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna keep bringing that up for the next 7
Yeah,
years.
did you die? Let's go to the left.
My question is for Doug, and I was curious on Falling Skies, how your makeup for Saru compares for your makeup for the aliens in Falling Skies.
Well, okay, thank you for knowing about Falling Skies. Hey. I played the Volm alien on that show. Cochise was my name. There's similarities between Saru and Cochise. They're both very smart, very articulate, very well spoken. They're written similarly in their cadence of speech and all that. The makeup though, Cochise had eyes that were out here, and so I was looking through little cracks in his face all day, so I was kind of like a mess. With Saru, I have my own eyes with those beautiful blue contact lenses, so that does widen up my birth of vision, which is great. But otherwise, and Cochise had flat-footed shoes, so he could just walk. Yeah, bless his heart. But thank you for even knowing about that. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to the right.
Hi, so my mycelium spore drive is the reason I got hooked on Discovery. So my question is for Anthony Rapp. How does it feel to be portraying the part of a character whose namesake is a legend in mycology?
Well, one of the first things I also learned when I met the writers was they talked about Paul Stamets, and then I went and watched his TED Talk, which if you have not seen his TED Talk, it's incredible and incredibly inspiring, and the work that he's doing is amazing. And it didn't even occur to me until I actually met him in person at the premiere of the first season that this show might actually help teach the world about the incredible work that he's doing, and it seems like that's happening all the time. Like I always see people going, "Oh yeah, that's a real guy," So there are things that he talks about which, if the science continues to show what he's working on, it could literally save the world and some of the terrible things that are happening to our planet. So please seek out the real Paul Stamets on the interwebs and watch his thing and read his books and everything like that.
Okay, guys, the band is out, and we've got 3 people left, so let's make this really fast. Let's go through it.
Okay, first of all, whatever they're paying you, it's not enough.
That's true.
Let's say that. But I just want to, because the show was just phenomenal. But anyway, do you, I guess question is about the CBS All Access. Do you find that the All Access is freeing you to drop the F-bombs and to spread out a little bit more? Or would you find a home on regular CBS? Or just what each of you think about that? Thank you so much.
I think streaming gives you that freedom. It opens things up a lot for most shows. So I'm in support of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think I would have said the F word if we weren't on CBS All Access. So I'm grateful.
Plus, even the length of the show. On broadcast television, they have to edit it down to fit into a slot. On the streaming, you don't. If it has to go to another page, it goes to another page on the script.
That said, if they want to show us on the network, we're okay with that, and we'll overdub the words.
Real fast. Let's get through these last 2. Just ask a question, please. Thank you.
I know many come from a STEM field in the crowd. I happen to come from a creative field where my training is in arts, sketch, illustration. I guess I feel in a way closer to you in terms of mindset. How do you keep yourself sharp professionally versus on your own creatively in your own aspects?
Oh, wow. I think it's really important to expose myself, continue to expose myself to work, which is why I read a lot, why I watch a lot of plays and watch the good stuff, the good movies, I can't hate watch. Hate watching makes me just sad. I'll try to only watch things that are inspiring. So that's one way that I think that being around other work that speaks to my heart and stirs my mind and stirs my soul helps keep me sharp.
I get inspired by these people, by doing scenes with them, the work that we do together. We bring so much to it, each of us, and I am true. I'm not just saying that. I'm truly inspired by these people.
Yeah, I'm inspired by the Hallmark Channel. I know you think I'm kidding, but I love the feel goods. I love like the aww. And so if there's any of that in Saru, that was inspired by the Hallmark Channel.
And let's get to the last question. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
No.
Hey guys,
I love you
so much for bringing hope in our homes during a time that's difficult at times. So thank you so much for all of that. Another thing I wanted to just say is that I think it's great that gay men are playing gay roles, and it's a time where things are changing despite everything else that we see. But the thing I wanted to ask is, who's the prankster of the group, and and what prank did you guys have that might have really set you guys up? You guys
I don't know if we
hilarious.
I don't know if we prank a lot. It's more just
Scared.
we're together. We just.
I knew it was you.
Yeah, well, but Sonequa likes to like lie in wait and scare you, like jump on you, like when you least expect it and startle you. That's one thing.
We have more like inside joke stuff. So like one that's very popular at the moment, and we go through phases, is a blow dart game where if somebody goes, you have to take the blow dart. Like you can't ignore it. You have to go down. And everybody does it, and it's, you know, yeah, you have to. So that's sort of the way that we joke around.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Let's give it up.
And we are back. Again, I am Heather Ferris, your unofficial host for STLV 2019, and I am joined by Fred and Rocky, and we are here to talk about the panel that we just watched. Tilly!
Oh yes, I've got the coffee cup that says "Silly for Tilly." I love her too.
Tilly's awesome.
Yeah.
Tilly is so awesome. I think she's a fan favorite of people.
Big time, because she drops the F-bomb and she fixes things with math.
And she was so happy she could drop the F-bomb, remember?
That's a big honor.
That was cool.
It's a big effing honor.
And another thing too that she was surprised about was that Tilly likes to party.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
She's got the shy, social anxiety thing going, but likes a good party too.
Likes party.
You start up that disco music. Let's talk about
And then there was one point in the panel where I'm blanking on who it was, but one of them got so excited that he started bouncing up and down.
Yeah,
and
they
then
just
the two
started bouncing.
people, the two people right next to him, they're bouncing up and down too.
It was great. You had the guy who plays Saru bouncing, and the doctor. They're just sitting there bouncing, and Stamets is in the middle going, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Making fun of me.
Yeah, that's great. That was fun. This cast is so cool all together because you can see they've got a camaraderie going. They're beautiful chemistry, and they're all professionals as far as the current day actors. They're in the prime. I mean, come on. It's good stuff to see them all firing around and happening. Yeah.
And then, do you remember when the doctor was asked what he was most surprised about, and his response was just priceless. He was like, "What? Besides being alive?" That was just so.
Yeah,
priceless.
it was a big step for him. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Hopefully, you're not watching this if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a lot of fun too, and his reaction to that question was just hilarious. What did you guys find about the panel that you really liked? Did you see anything that you enjoyed?
Trying to remember something specific aside from the bouncing.
Well, Saru,
he hugs everybody.
Talked that, and he also talked about the challenges of walking in those.
They brought a guy. They got a Ross cosplayer up in the same outfit and had him trying to walk around in the same kind of outfit, the shoes.
The same way and everything.
Yeah, and get his walk down with the arms going back and forth. Yeah. That was really cool.
That I think is impressive for a cosplayer to do.
And he's doing it the whole day. I mean,
oh my God, they don't stop. Because a lot of these cosplayers here, they stay in character for most of the day.
Yeah,
that's gotta be rough.
Oh, it's so rough. Yeah, I mean, those are they're actors as well.
True.
You know, to do that and everything. And then I also thought it was interesting when Asha was saying that he was going to be in Dark Crystal. I want to see that.
Yeah, that was a big one. I remember seeing his name pop up on one of the, I don't know if I saw it on a magazine article or whatever I saw it on, but I'm like, Dark Crystal, okay, yes. And he's got to recognize his name. Yeah. I have no complaints so far.
Now, wasn't this the panel where you asked a question?
I did.
That was really awesome, and we got that on video and everything.
You just saw it, right?
Well, now tell people what your question was.
Okay. So in the first season, for the first season, the previous captain of Discovery had said that he knew the secret of Lorca,
you know, that Lorca was really from the Mirror Universe.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
This is all spoiler.
All of it.
So my question to the rest of the cast was, did they know the secret of, you know, Lorca before they started filming it? In other words, you know, did they know then, or did they just find out? Were they surprised when they finally saw the
if they
script?
didn't know right away, they knew pretty quick, is what it seemed to sound like. 'cause
Yeah.
they kind of had to know.
They
Right.
pretty much all knew.
Yeah, from the comments.
It's like I need
yeah.
to know, yeah.
Yeah. And that, they said too that they knew that they were not going to stay with the same captain.
Captain, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. I'm really glad you got to ask that question.
Yeah, that was cool.
And you asked it very eloquently. Well, I'm not even going to say eloquently. Eloquently. Thank you. But yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So that does it pretty much for this commentary. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we get going?
One other thing,
Okay.
they were asked about whether they could reveal any hints, secrets from the upcoming season 3. And I guess the only thing we really got out of them was Lieutenant Stamets gets to explore Jeffrey's tube.
Yeah, that's cool. Jeffrey's tube's in the house. Gotta love that.
Other than that, I guess we'll have to stay tuned.
Mum's the word.
Yes.
And it is early 2020, right? That is coming out?
No, early 2020 is when
Picard.
And Discovery is expected, I think, you know, later in 2020.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard a real.
Maybe early 2020.
They're working on both of these shows at the same time, basically, because
Oh, okay.
they're working on Picard and they're working on Discovery 3.
Yeah.
So
Two different crews and everything.
yeah, they're cranked up.
I can't say definitively, but the rumors have been is that they're going to try to stagger the series so that you know, they're not released at the same time.
And I could see that with some of the effects work. You know, it's going to take a while.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
If it's at the same caliber as last season, because oh my God,
Yes.
yeah, that was
I love
crazy
that
stuff.
they're doing a movie caliber.
Yeah.
But stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. And I think that does it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us and watching the panel and listening to our commentary. And join us. Hit that little next button on the YouTube channel and join us for the next panel. We are looking forward to seeing you there.